Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan face off against Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. We've got Kaylee Ray in her second match in NXT UK against Isla Dawn. And tonight, in the main event, Joe Coffey wrestles a sack of fucking potatoes. Gentlemen, raise your beverages. It's an NXT party.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to the NXT party for episode number 37 of NXT UK. I am your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight we've got a pair of co-hosts, I guess.
Yeah.
Normally we call them our special guests, but let's say co-hosts. Tonight we've got the holiday Chris Mace. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good, yo.
And we've got the Cleaver, Colin Andrew. How you doing, Colin?
I'm good, man. It's WrestleMania week.
Now, when you say that, do you mean in general, or do you mean after watching this episode of NXT UK? Because honestly, I'm a bit on the fence on this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, just the overall hype of the week it's been good so far. So
my hype for the week is that it's going to be a very long weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to some cold brews, some greasy burgers, and some sloppy wings. So, and some good old-fashioned wrestling. So,
not going to be a whole lot of good old-fashioned wrestling, I don't think.
No.
It's going to be a lot of WWE. It's going to be 16 matches worth of WWE wrestling. God.
Oh, that's a lot.
We'll have some good stuff.
Tonight, we are talking about NXT UK, and we start off this episode with Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan coming out to face Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. So already me and Jerry are pumped about this match.
We are fanboying out.
Yeah. Shame, though. Shame. Really good match, not great. It's not the best we've seen out of Eichner and Bartel. I think there's a reason.
We get a lot of their signature spots and whatnot, and a lot of nines.
We get like 2 of their signature spots as a tag team, and one of them they don't even really hit.
Yeah.
So, just gonna grab that right there. Need that. So, what did you think about the match, Chris?
I thought it was interesting. I liked Eichner and Bartel. I thought easily they were going to win this match. That's certainly in my head. They were going to win this. They were dominating the majority of the match. And just that ending, I was like, what in the hell? I thought for sure they were going to win.
Was not the case. We actually got, I would call it an upset.
I would too.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Even though Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams have had 2 wins in a row coming towards this match, and I'm pretty sure Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel have had 2 losses in a row between NXT and NXT UK.
Yep.
So this kind of really isn't that big of a upset, but as far as tag teams go, definitely an upset.
Yeah.
It upset me, for sure. I know it upset Jerry.
Oh, God, it crushed me.
But what did you think about the match, Colin?
I was surprised by the ending. I'm, European Union all day. I mean,
nice, I like that.
Get it. It's a damn shame, but I get what they're trying to establish, or you're trying to do, I guess. But overall, it was a decent match, like you said. It wasn't our best out of the European Union, but hey, I mean, we're 37 episodes in, which there may be 10 episodes in as a tag team, maybe 15.
They get settled together pretty quick.
It was a decent opener, but I was very shocked at the ending.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got some notes for the spots, if that. I mean, it was a great match from beginning to end, so it's not just worth it to see the spots. But here are some of the spots. So we got the hangout double basement drop kick, where I think it was Amir Jordan, they've got him hanging in the ropes over in their corner, and Marcel Bartel comes off the ropes. Fabian Eichner slides under the ropes and comes around on the outside and does a drive-by type drop kick, while Bartel does a basement drop kick, and they just knock him off. And it's always great.
It's always great.
It wasn't always great when it was single.
They improved it little by little to the point where now it's just crisp and looks good.
And then eventually we get the hot tag to Kenny Williams, who comes in. He does this running bulldog onto Bartel where he jumps through the ropes sort of Miz style and bulldogs his head into the top rope. That was cool. And then Marcel blocks a wheelbarrow roll-up, right? But then Williams comes off of it, turns it around into an OG Dirty Deeds, is what I called it. The original Dirty Deeds, not the double arm or double chicken wing DDT, where Dean Ambrose would get him around the head from that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Headlock driver. That's what it was called.
Headlock driver.
Yes.
So we got the wrecking ball drop kick that Kenny Williams does to the outside. He hits Eichner. He goes to skin the cat, though, and Marcel Bartel drop kicks him, knocks him to the outside. That was awesome.
That was beautiful looking.
And then Amir comes off the top with a cross body to the outside, and Eichner catches him. He falls back like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 steps before he gets his balance, but he catches him.
Yes.
Brings him over to the ring and just throws him up and lands him face first right into the apron. That was great. And then we had the spine buster into the soccer kick. So we did get a couple of their signature moves. A few more than I thought.
Yeah.
That was Eichner and Bartel, of course. But then they go for posing instead of going for the pin.
Which I was okay with until, maybe 10, 15 seconds later.
And Amir Jordan gets taken out of this match. Eichner big boots him off the apron to the outside, and we don't see Amir Jordan again. But then they go to do the lawn dart into the vertical suplex like they do. And I'm like, this isn't right. This is a spot where you do your finisher, and this isn't their finisher. But whatever. Their finisher, I believe, is the German suplex, or the pop-up into the German suplex.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And this isn't it. So, of course, Eichner catches the vertical suplex off the lawn dart. But while he's holding him up, Kenny Williams starts kneeing him in the head. And then he falls down, rolls him up, stacks him up, folds him over, whatever. He gets a 3 count while Marcel Bartel...
Handful of tights.
For the first count and a half, at least, had a handful of tights.
Yes.
You couldn't see it based off the camera angle. They never gave you a different one. Of course, they're baby faces. You don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Or they don't want you to see that. My problem was Marcel Bartel should have been able to break up that pin. He was a little slow on the uptake. Not so much believable. So, yeah, the end of this match was a little shocking, to say the least. But if that means that the next people that are going to get beat by James Drake and Zach Gibson are Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan and not Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner, then
I'm fine with that too.
I'm pretty cool with that.
Or maybe they'll divert their attention to something else, very kind of ring-compish. But one spot that I really liked that we kind of skipped over was the double chop from Bartel, only for was it Amir Jordan that got? Yeah, because he started dancing and Bartel just double chops him in the throat, then tags in Eichner, who just lights up his chest.
Oh, that first chop smack.
Oh, yes.
Delivered, just sang out to the crowd. It was awesome. Up next, though, we've got Radzi interviewing Rhea Ripley. What I loved most about this promo, or interview promo, whatever, was the very beginning when Rhea comes through the door. She's got her luggage, like she just showed up, and she comes through the door, and the first thing she's greeted with is Radzi asking her questions.
Yes.
The look on her face was brilliant. What do you think about this, Jerry?
Well, first off, she's wearing a Nightmare on Elm Street shirt, which is great, and so like, she matches my notebook.
It really did. It really did.
And for her to say like that she's gonna be like what was it, Piper and Evans' like worst nightmare. I'm waiting for his feud. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be short-lived, but I think it's gonna be great. I don't see it being a long-standing thing. They're probably just like one to establish dominance, and either Rhea Ripley sticks around or she doesn't.
I'm hoping Rhea sticks around because she's one of the faces that I look forward to seeing in NXT UK. Don't get rid of her yet.
Oh yeah.
So Piper Niven is debuting next week, and I guess this is just building a feud between them.
Yeah.
And that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we're going to have to wait until the next NXT UK takeover to see the match.
Colin, how long do you think we're going to have to wait for this match?
Well, I mean, with neither of them being in the title picture right now, I don't really see the reason to wait until the next takeover. But maybe those two would be one hell of a number one contender match after Ginny.
Well, they've already had their face-off spot when Piper debuted without wrestling, and so they're building towards a match. So why is it that Piper comes in and has a debut match against somebody else? If this isn't building towards a longer feud than just a couple of weeks, then I'd rather see them both wrestle other people before they meet and maybe make it a pay-per-view match.
Oh, kind of make it so one of them's always standing on the stage watching the other one, kind of thing, just kind of studying their moves.
Fuck no.
I mean,
Or is that too cliche at this point?
Yeah, but it's probably better than
actually.
it's probably better than cutting to them in the back where they're watching the television at an angle much like this, so that the camera can get it too. Oh yeah, this is totally how I would watch.
I liked how
it just feels so good to stand right here.
Well, that's the thing. I see Rhea Ripley like maybe like in a skybox type thing, kind of like Tommaso Ciampa was watching Gargano lose to Velveteen Dream.
I can see that. What about you, Chris? What do you think about this Rhea and Piper Niven situation? What are your thoughts?
Like I said, I think they're going to have a slow burn, and then they're going to probably have their first matchup probably at the next NXT UK event. They'll have their match finally. Hopefully, it's probably for a number one contendership match for the NXT UK Women's title.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I was about to say 13 weeks is a long enough time.
Or they have a series of matches and they garner respect for each other, and Piper Niven turns heel and they become a tag team and they go for the women's tag team championship belts.
Viper
That'd be
Ripley.
cool.
Viper Ripley.
I mean, just something. Let's do something with these two ladies in particular. Definitely.
That'd be a hell of a badass tag team right there.
So up next, we've got an interview backstage with Johnny Saint and Sid Scala, and they're being asked about TakeOver New York, and it's a big deal that the NXT UK Championship, or I'm sorry, the WWE UK Championship.
Because there is no belt for NXT UK.
Yep.
Nope, not until somebody finally wises up and brings the European Championship back. But we won't go into that.
Not right now.
No,
This is about Jordan Devlin, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because whatever they say about the championship,
which is oddly our pick for the European
TakeOver,
Championship.
out the window, Jordan Devlin comes in and interrupts them, and he's like, basically he asks why Walter gets to skip the queue.
Yep.
And I'm like, my memory says that that's because Pete Dunne asked for Walter.
Yeah.
And champs can do that occasionally. Chris,
Yeah.
what did you think about this interview here and Jordan Devlin and his promo?
Like I said, I already keep saying it over and over again, Devlin's the MVP of that brand. Like I said, I think it's interesting because it makes me wonder, are we going to see Devlin make a surprise appearance on NXT TakeOver tomorrow? Maybe watching the match, observing it, maybe even trying to cause some kind of interference somewhere, or even maybe hurting a guy.
Was that your idea too there, Colin?
Yeah, well, I was kind of having a feeling that something's going to happen where Devlin's going to cause a disqualification, and then have either Pete Dunne end up retaining it. Just the idea of it now, because Devlin's talking all about how pissed off he is that he wasn't even thought about being in the title picture. How did Walter skip everybody?
Well, yes and no. I mean, because he had his opportunity. Jordan Devlin had an opportunity to beat Pete Dunne.
And that was a fantastic match.
And he said in his promo that he took Pete Dunne to his limit, and it's like, yeah, wasn't far enough.
If he took him to the limit, he'd be walking around with a belt.
Didn't he tap?
Yes. Like Gregory Hines.
Yeah.
He tapped like crazy.
He fucking gave up. So he's not the right person. The right person is Mastiff to be asking that question.
And that's why I think we're going to get our match between Mastiff and Devlin here relatively soon. Especially after this disrespect that Devlin was showing to Sid Scala, putting the microphone right against his forehead.
That was brilliant.
It was the most comedy I think I've ever seen out of Jordan Devlin, but he's like, your thoughts. Boom.
Just right up against his nose and everything. What do you think about this from Jordan Devlin, Colin?
I liked it. I still consider him as one of the top people in the brand, and we had that glorious European title, he'd be the one to hold it. But since we don't, how about he goes for the UK title? I kind of had a feeling, like as you guys probably picked up on, that he might show up or have something to do on Sunday, but if not immediately after, I see him being the number one person to either. It doesn't matter who walks out of New York with that UK title, Devlin's going to be waiting for him. So, I like that Mastiff idea though.
In that same vein, like we could also probably have some sort of like either four corners match or something like that, and also throw in Joe Coffey and whoever the loser is in the Pete Dunne and Walter match, and have them earn their rematch. Have a four corners match between those two. And
I am not a fan of going back to the well to all the guys that Pete Dunne has already beaten.
But yet,
either Walter takes the title and we start fresh, or
he's not beaten Mastiff.
It's got to be. Yeah, there you go, Mastiff. That's it. Period. Mastiff. Mastiff is the guy that deserves to be facing Pete Dunne right now because he is fucking undefeated. Now we haven't seen him in a few weeks or a few months maybe, but maybe that's because he's pissed off because he's beaten everybody he's been in the ring with, including Eddie Dennis twice.
Yeah, that could be the build-up at this point. Maybe Dunne drops the belt, which I did not predict. I predicted that Pete Dunne shall be keeping it. But if that's the case, maybe Dunne tries to get a rematch and Mastiff calls him out. It's like I haven't gotten one match for his title yet. And Sid Scala and Johnny Saint make the match Mastiff versus Dunne.
If Walter wins, this definitely needs to be the next feud. It needs to be Walter versus Mastiff. Period.
I think he needs to go through Dunne first.
Nope. Walter versus Mastiff.
I think he has to go through Dunne first.
Match. And it'd be a match that would be great, but you wouldn't have to put it on a pay-per-view necessarily. That should be the next one. And then Mastiff gets his first loss because Walter beats him.
Dunne first.
If Dunne loses, he goes to the back of the line. Fuck him. I mean,
almost 700 days.
All the best to him because of the reign. But when you're done, you're done. There is no more automatic rematch clause. You go back to the pool with everybody else. You earn your match, and Mastiff has earned it. If Pete Dunne loses, he does not deserve a rematch more than Mastiff.
That's true.
Period. No Mastiff, no Pete Dunne, straight to Walter, and then he loses, and he gets some humble.
Yeah,
he eats some pie. But yeah, straight to Walter because at this point, Mastiff deserves it. He's the only one that does.
People will come and punch your pack.
So,
come to the match while punching pie.
Yeah, now that I've killed the mood. Up next, we have our second match of the night, Isla Dawn versus Kaylee Ray in her second match in NXT UK, and probably Isla Dawn's fourth match.
Isla Dawn's got great music, she's got great presence. I still don't know what to make of her, though.
Is she a heel? Is she a face? Nobody knows.
She's like the tweener.
Agnostic.
I'm about to say she's the tweener of the women's division.
She looks like a heel, but she talks like a baby face.
Yeah.
I've actually got several notes for this match. This was not that bad of a match.
No, it wasn't.
It's probably the best match I've seen out of Isla Dawn so far.
Kaylee Ray may have brought that out of her.
What did you think about the match, Colin?
I thought it was pretty decent, pretty quick. I'm becoming a fan of Kaylee Ray. I'm not really sure what to make of her yet. I don't know what side of the fence that she's playing on, heel or face, or she's the Dr. Pepper of the UK division right now. Is she a cola or is she root beer? Nobody knows. It's agnostic.
She's not disgusting, though.
She's definitely a heel. I'm calling it now. She's definitely a heel.
I hate Dr. Pepper.
There was the what was it? The bridge out of the pin, that was pretty cool. I'm always a fan of that type stuff. It's
yeah.
That's a lot of strength to pull yourself out from under someone like that real quick.
Yeah, I think Bailey did that on Raw.
It was a decent match. I mean, once we see more of these ladies, I'm sure I'll develop more into their character and follow along a little bit more. But no, that was a decent match though. I mean, nothing too shocking to me. But
I think a real shocker would have been Isla Dawn winning.
I like the chemistry they showed at the beginning of this match. Just the back and forth, going through a couple of the quick roll-up pins that they kick out of and transitioning into other pins and shit. And it was chain wrestling kinda, but a little bit different. I enjoyed it. What did you think about the match, Chris?
I liked Isla Dawn's entrance. That's pretty much, to me, it was just like, okay, blah, let's just get this match done, alright. Because I just wasn't really entertained with it, except for the beginning when Isla Dawn was trying to do the quick roll-ups. Like I said, I really wasn't entertained by it too much. Really, just a basic match to me. Nothing that was too exciting or too impressive to me. The right person won.
What about you?
Well, my only thing is, with the finish, but, it was back and forth battle. You and I were catching, what could potentially have been botches, but at the same time, I think it was just the fact that they're, trying to see what would work with them in the ring, which could also signify a longer-standing feud between the two than that they're actually letting on at this point. I could actually see a rematch between the two down the road, and Isla Dawn probably coming out victorious in that, and it's something building there, because, they're both Scots women, and since we're not going to be friends, they're going to be bitter rivals.
Yeah, one or the other, right?
Yeah.
It's hot or it's cold.
It's yes or it's no.
The potential botches you were talking about, I want to make mention of this. There were spots in this match where they were going to do moves against each other, and it just didn't look very fluid, almost like there was miscommunication, and either the move just looked bad, or looked like it was about to be botched, or they were about to botch a move, but then Kaylee Ray would just seamlessly go into another move and just make it look like that's what she was going to do all along.
She saved the match a lot.
But I think Isla Dawn did that once or twice as well. It just, throughout the match, it just seemed like there wasn't a lot of communication, which is funny because they should both understand their accents. I doubt I could.
Yep.
So, not in that situation. But I've got several notes on some spots. I've started taking notes where, okay, so Kaylee Ray throws Isla into the ropes and trips her up off of the spring. And Isla Dawn's laying on the apron sort of perpendicular to it, with feet out.
Yeah.
And so, when she came off the ropes, Kaylee Ray trips her right there. So her legs are right there. She spins her around, she's standing on the outside on the floor, spins her around, and clocks her with a forearm.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was great looking. Sorry, I was trying to set it up so you could visualize this. Off of that, she goes for a draping DDT, but Isla counters. She gets down, and she ends up dropping Kaylee Ray face first off of the apron. That was a sweet spot. And then she throws her into the ring, but immediately Kaylee Ray gets up and does a short suicide dive right back out onto Isla Dawn. That was great. Throws her back into the ring. Isla ends up hitting a belly to back, almost a driver, and then a running high knee. Got a near fall out of that. And then Kaylee Ray eventually gets up, and after a sweet titty smack,
yes.
I forgot to mention the return of the undercleavage.
Yep, it was there.
It was tastefully done up with a little cross of ribbons, and but still there, the undercleavage is back. Just saying. So after a sweet titty smack, which almost looks like a chop, but it was definitely a titty smack, and a super kick, we got a gory bomb off of Kaylee Ray onto Isla Dawn for the pinfall victory, and Kaylee Ray is now 2-0. undefeated.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Gory Bomb actually turn into Victoria's Widow's Peak, because that was a great looking move, a lot more devastating looking, I think, than the Gory Bomb itself.
Maybe she just doesn't want to be associated with, oh, that's the chick that does Victoria moves.
Well, that could be it too.
Sometimes you just want to have a move that's either so old that it's new for you or new for everybody else, or you just don't want to do somebody else's move.
I kept on calling it the Gory Special, but
it was a Gory Bomb.
Yeah.
So after this, we've got Radzi interviewing Tony Storm in the back, who says just about, I've said all there is to say. It's about all she gets out. And Jenny blindsides her and attacks her. And this was a great segment. Yes. A couple of refs come in to break them up. But all they ever end up managing to do is to hold the babyface back long enough for the heel to break free of the one guy. Oh, Jenny lands this right-handed forearm to Tony Storm that just knocks her loopy. I mean, it sounded so good.
It sounded gnarly.
In an area where there's not good acoustics. Then turns around and throws her into one of those fucking packing boxes, and Tony Storm is laid out. This was great. Made Jenny look awesome, which
and it's the best Tony Storm has looked in ages.
Definitely not winning the championship match next week. What did you think about the interview, Jerry?
I thought the interview was short. The interview. I thought it was short and sweet, and like pretty much finally it bubbled over. It's what needed to happen before this match that we're getting this next week. There needed to be some sort of physical altercation between the two.
Not just Jenny creeping up behind Tony Storm to do a promo for next week.
So, Colin, do you see Jenny pulling the W next week for that match? Or do you see Tony Storm holding on to the belt for another day?
As much as I would love to see her pick up the W, I see Tony Storm hold it to another day just because it's still been relatively soon. I feel like, I don't know. I just have a feeling that they're going to leave it on Storm for a little while longer. I thought the promo was great, though. I mean,
I almost feel like, at this point, I almost feel like Tony Storm was originally meant to get the title, but they called an audible in the match and gave it to Ripley.
Kind of, because her back getting injured, and they knew she was going to be out for a little while.
As soon as Tony Storm was ready to go again, they put her in one match against a jobber, and then stuck her in the title match with Rhea, and she took the belt.
Yeah.
So.
And Tony Storm ain't been impressive at all. Look at her rematch she had with Ripley when she was spinning against Ripley. I said it was just Ripley dominated 80% of the damn match. I said I thought it was not the best performance out of Tony Storm, and Jenny needs to win this belt next week. Period. That's what I think, because they need to get that belt off Tony Storm.
So up next, we've got a selfie promo by Travis Banks, and he's talking about Cassius Ono. Cassius. It says back in the day, he used to look up to guys like Cassius Ono, but now he just wants to punch him in the face, I think. And he's going to get his opportunity. What did you think about this promo from Travis Banks? Let's go with Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
I'm trying to figure out how did you look up to him back in the days, because he wasn't what his name was back in the day. His name was Chris Hero back in the day.
Damn straight he was Chris Hero back in the day.
And then he ate him.
Then he ate him.
A lot of Chris Heroes.
So, like I said, I think it's going to be an interesting match. Let's see if Travis Banks can pull off a good match besides wrestling somebody like a Devlin. Let's see if he can pull off a good match with him next week.
What about you, Colin?
We got a Kiwi buzzsaw versus a big ass hero. So, I just hope it turns out okay for Banksy. I guess he needs it after coming up with the whole Devlin deal. So, am I excited to see it? Oh no! But besides that, I mean, we'll see what happens next week.
I think it depends on whether Cassius Ono is there to put over other wrestlers or if he's there to be a top guy.
Yeah.
If he's there to be in the main event or the
That's
upper
bugging me.
mid card, then it's possible that Travis Banks is just going to get fed to Cassius Ohno like he did Jordan Devlin.
Pretty much like a gatekeeper, because all Ohno's done so far is beat Nash and Smith, and pretty much everybody's done that.
Everybody he's gotten in the ring with, at least.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where Cassius Ohno, yeah, he can move a little bit up the ladder, but not too much. But at the same time, Banks does need the victory at this point. Do I see him getting it? No, I see his flat face getting kicked in even further.
So up next, we've got in-ring promo by Zach Gibson and James Drake. And James Drake is wearing a suit that just... I don't know what to say about it. It's green and it looks like drapes.
I have the same drapes at the house.
Yeah.
You change that undershirt out from under it, it's not too terrible.
No.
You mean the purple shirt?
I'd wear it. So.
Yeah, I feel like Seth Green would wear that.
Seth Green would totally wear
He would
that.
rock that. So, by the time they get to the ring, half of the crowd has got their shoes off and held up.
Nigel, what's that smell?
What is that smell? And the crowd starts chanting to James Drake, calling him what I've been calling him from day one.
Ass face.
As soon as I saw them trunks with his face on them,
It's like, look at ass face over there.
I gotta use this. So, Gibson basically uses this to say a whole lot of nothing other than kind of verbally attacking Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. Like, who have they beaten? Like, what have they done to earn?
They've got one victory.
One match.
Well, they got 3 in a row.
Yeah, but that just shows that Zach Gibson and James Drake are just looking past them and not even paying attention to the fact that they're winning.
What do you think about the promo here, Colin?
I mean, I love this team. I really truly do. They were my pick to win the inaugural tournament for the titles. They've grown together so well. They mesh so good. Gibson on the mic, dude, that crowd plays that dude like a fiddle, and he plays them just as well back. It's so good. Like, the amount of chants, the shoes off if you hate Gibson chant was so loud tonight.
There was one chant they were doing we could not figure out, and we even tried putting the subtitles on.
I know. I'm trying to remember. I had it written down, and I don't remember where that little paper went. But that crowd, man, that whole promo was awesome. But yeah, he said a whole lot of hot air.
What do you think about this? What do you think about this, Chris?
I actually love this. Like I said, these guys have just grown on me. I wasn't sure what to think of them at first when they won the tag titles. Like I said, I was for Mustache Mountain. But like I said, these guys have grown on me. They impress me more and more every time I see them. I'm like going. I thought that was just a promo about a whole bunch of nothing. But he had that crowd eating out of the palm of his hand, and I loved every minute of that, though.
Yeah, they just hate him that much. This tag team didn't have to grow on me because I was already on board with Zach Gibson as a solo act.
Mm-hmm.
Just happens James Drake was a perfect fit for him
because he doesn't talk. He just stands there and is almost like an advocate
great in the ring.
Yeah,
his facial expressions is what gets me all the time.
Like he'll do that like whisper thing, or he'll be like it won't be talking into the microphone because that's Gibson's spotlight. Drake is just kind of sharing it.
So I'm just looking forward to Amir Jordan catching a ticket to Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
And a 1, 2, 3.
Dude.
Just saying. Up next, before the main event, we've got a couple of announcements. They're making it official next week. We've got Travis Banks versus Cassius Ohno. And they're reminding us about the Piper Niven debut. And also reminding us that the NXT Women's Championship, or NXT UK Women's Championship, will be defended next week. Toni Storm versus Jenny. Yes. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the main event.
Support, no DQ.
And in the main event, we've got the aforementioned Potato Sack, Trent Seven, versus Joe Coffey. And Joe came out with the rest of Gallus, and they were in suits almost equally as bad as the one we saw earlier on James Drake. We're good. We're good. If you liked it, you probably liked what Wolfgang was wearing.
It's European fashion. What can we say?
But they left for the back, and he went to the ring alone. Trent Seven didn't come out with anybody.
No.
Like, Tyler Bate didn't even wish him well, man. He came out by himself.
He needed to prove himself because the whole
Sure he does.
The whole premise of this match was the fact that James that he was called dead weight because he was called dead weight by Gallus.
Joe Coffey,
yeah. So he had to go out there and prove that he was not that, and failed.
I've got a lot of highlights from this match. It was actually a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Like, not great. I don't think. I would
It was
call it
pretty
great.
good for a Trent Seven match.
It was just below great. Just below great. Before I get into that, let's start with Chris. What did you think about the main event?
I was surprised at how well this match came off. Like I said, John Coffey was, like I said, was working the back. Trent Seven, it was a good back and forth match. I like the one spot where, they're both on the outside and everything, and then Trent Seven, I was thinking, what is he doing? He throws Coffey back in, and you see his back going out, going, oh my God, this is how it's going to end. We're going to end it with a count out, but he gets barely back in there, and they kept going. But I liked how they kept selling the back. That's my whole thing. I love storytelling. I like psychology and storytelling. You're selling that injury, or you hurt your back, and how we tried to go and lift him up, and then his back just gave out.
Yep.
It's like that's the parts of wrestling that I like, is the storytelling in the match and remembering. You don't go, okay, well, I injured my back a minute ago, then like 5 minutes later you forgot you were injured in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked about the match.
That adrenaline high kind of hits. It's like, oh yeah, my leg's broken.
So, what'd you think about the main event, Colin?
I thought it was a pretty good match considering, it was a solo Trent Seven deal.
Right.
Joe Coffey's established that he could put on a good show by himself. He established that with Pete Dunne at NXT TakeOver Blackpool.
Yes.
So I thought it was pretty good. Like Chris was saying, the storytelling was good. When he was sitting there mashing the shit out of his back.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, I was going with the potato reference too. You know what I mean? Mashing it. And
Got to listen to the cook for those food puns.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes I just slice them right in there. You know. But,
nice.
No, I was pretty impressed with the match and the ending of it. I was actually happy with the ending of it because when's the last time you've seen someone tap out from a straight old
Boston Crab
number one? Like,
yeah, not even a lion tamer.
Jericho, no this or that, just the straight old Boston Crab.
Yeah.
About 20 years easily.
I was going to say, what, Rick Martel?
Look at that.
I mean, Jericho.
Yeah, well, yeah,
because the walls of Jericho are a straight up Boston Crab.
Lion Tamer completely different. So, but yeah, Walls of Jericho is just straight up Boston Crab.
Yeah.
Different variations.
I guess, but I'm saying it's not called the Walls of Jericho. It's not called.
It's Boston Crab.
I think they called it a double leg crab.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a Boston crab.
I guess they can't refer to Boston in England.
Yeah, nobody knows what they're talking about.
It's like what's Boston? We can't talk about Boston here.
The best baseball city in America. But no, I thought it was a good match overall. All right, so I'm getting real sick of Trent Seven though because the dude. Either it's his knee every match, or it's his back every match, or it's just there's no one there to carry him anymore. I feel like he can't do stuff.
They're telling the story that he's getting old.
With Pete Dunne getting ready to probably more than likely lose that title to Walter tomorrow night at NXT TakeOver New York. Chances of him getting called up to another roster and not being on the UK brand anymore, there goes your British Strong Style. So then what are you going to do to replace one of your top guys? You're going to move Bate up to that.
Yep.
So you're going to break out Mustache Mountain.
Yeah.
Now, where does that leave Trent Seven? Is
Being
that going to be
the
Trent
heel-
Seven versus Cassius Ohno? Because that's a whole lot of cottage cheese in the ring. That's terrible.
There was a spot in this match where Trent Seven's belly jiggled, and it
kept on going.
It wasn't like that firm Jello jiggle. It was more like, jelly or jam.
It was like veal. There was like no structure to it whatsoever.
What that tells me, though, is as soft as his stomach is there, that he's actually losing weight.
Yeah.
And so I think him and Cassius Ohno are both getting in better ring shape. So hopefully that means longer matches. And this was a pretty long match. Don't get me wrong. It was like
just over 20 minutes.
15 or 6. No, they had 21 minutes for the match.
Oh, that's right.
But the last 3 or 4 minutes was a promo for the main event, or not the main event, but the
Pete Dunne versus Walter.
Yeah, the UK Championship match at TakeOver.
You were trying to make that what we were rating after this one.
But for a lot of this match, Trent Seven just looked blown up. Like he was done halfway through this match at the very earliest. Or at least halfway through this match. So I've got a lot of spots. Joe starts off the work on the back though with a bow and arrow around the ring post. What I noticed about this, it looked okay. It wasn't the best one I've ever seen. But what I noticed about this was he didn't get a 5 count. The ref just kept telling him to stop doing that.
Stop doing that. That's mean.
Stop doing that. You can't do that. Stop it. Stop it.
That's what I made mention of. I'm like, there needs to be a Cockney ref there that nobody can understand.
But yeah, no 5 count, which is odd. That's normally how you handle that anyway. And then Joe works over the back in the midsection, and then he puts on this rest hold that it was some kind of armbar maybe from a kneeling position. Trent's in a sitting position. I called it the "ha-ha, I've got your arm." Because that's pretty much all he had his arm. There was no lock. There was no submission there. He just had his arm up.
There was no torquing of the trapezius muscle. There was no bending. There was no nothing. He just had his arm.
Nothing.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Wait, you want your arm back? At some point, Joe comes running in towards Trent in the corner, and Seven dodges him. He goes face first into the turnbuckle, and this is where it turns around for Trent Seven. He hits a dragon suplex, and then does that vertical suplex into a side slam. I don't know what he calls it.
It's really cool looking.
It's just a modified side slam. I don't know, yeah.
And then he clotheslines Joe over the top rope, and then does a suicide dive. I mean, Trent Seven did a suicide dive.
He fit through the ropes.
So there you go. I mean, he's doing work, man.
Yep.
Man.
But then he goes for too much. He goes up top, and he goes for a corkscrew senton and completely misses it. But then he ducks a lariat that Joe goes for, but then Joe comes back and hits a double lariat. One to the back, one to the front.
Northern, southern,
yeah.
Central.
He almost turns Trent Seven inside out here. He gets a near fall, though. No pinfall. And then Joe picks him up and hits a deadlift German suplex. Does that pounce into the corner where he pushes Trent Seven into the corner. And then a power bomb. Basic power bomb. He's copying Walter almost. For a near fall. And then he goes for another deadweight power bomb. And Trent Seven counters it into a figure 4. And he is so blown up at this point that once Joe makes it to the ropes, the ref actually has to break the figure 4 off after the count of 4 before he counts to 5. Like, he's like, oh, probably shouldn't disqualify this match here. There's a lot of time left to kill.
Yep.
So he breaks the move. And then off of the figure 4, both guys roll out onto the apron. And they get up. We got a breakdown, ladies and gentlemen.
Breakdown on the apron.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. This time we get it on the apron, and it ends with Joe Coffey going for another power bomb, but Trent Seven counters it and backdrops him onto the floor. That was sick looking.
Yep.
The funniest part of this match comes off of that. Because both of these guys are down and out on the outside. But of course, Trent gets up first because he's the one that did the backdrop. And instead of just rolling in the ring and taking the 10 count victory, he rolls Joe Coffey back into the ring at 7 and just barely misses the ref's ridiculously slow 10 count.
Yeah, 9 3/4.
I mean...
Yeah, between 9 and 10 felt like 3 seconds.
Yeah, a lot of time. He goes for the 7-star lariat, but Joe counters, and then Joe goes for the all raw best for the bells, and Trent Seven ducks it, but then Joe hits a pop-up uppercut, which kind of lays out Trent for a moment. But then he goes for this cross body from the corner, but he triple springs up into it, and then comes off, turns around for a cross body, completely misses. And then Trent Seven comes off the ropes with a clothesline from hell, picks up Joe, then does the 7-star lariat, near fall.
Yep.
No victory. Then he goes for this torture rack lift, and I don't know what he was going to come off with, but his back gives out, and he drops Joe, and Joe ends up hitting another power bomb, near fall, and then right out of the kick out, he goes into a single leg crab, and this is the end of the match, basically. Goes from single, drags him away from the ropes, goes into a double leg crab, or a Boston crab, or Walls of Jericho, or whatever. Drags him away from the ropes at least twice more, because Trent's got enough to almost make it to the ropes. Eventually, he's just in the middle of the ring. There's nothing he can do. Trent Seven taps out, and I pretty much figured Joe Coffey was going to win this, but you never know.
Yeah.
I was let down by the end of this match just because it was very, very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just the nature of the beast if you're going to end a match with a tap out off of a move as basic as a Boston Crab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't see it coming. Honestly, he was in that Boston Crab for a long time, but I still didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was super anticlimactic. But that brings us to the end of the main event.
Yep.
And here on the NXT party, we rate the main event using good old NXT. So out of 5 spots of NXT, let's go with Colin first. Where do you rate this main event?
This main event, I'm going to go 2 3/4.
Wow.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
It's fair. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't total dog shit. I mean, it was a sack of potatoes, but it wasn't total dog shit. So.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I'm gonna go probably the same thing. 2 3/4. Like I said, I like the storytelling. I said I agree with you with the ending. It's kind of anticlimactic, but I do like how it was telling the story. He injured his back, so why not go for a basic submission move here to try to win the match and actually work because he was selling the back the whole time. So I agree. I'll give it 2 3/4.
What about you, Jerry?
I'm going to be slightly more generous. I'm going to give it a 3. And that's only because this match, as anticlimactic as the ending was, that was every match on this card, if you think about it. The quick roll-up from Kenny Williams. We didn't see that coming, but at the same time, we're like, okay. And then we had
Kaylee Ray with a short match.
Short match from Kaylee Ray. And then we had this ending, which the other reason I kind of gave this one a little bit higher rating, it's the first time we've actually seen Joe Coffey submit anyone. Like we usually see the all raw vest for the bells, and that's the end of it.
Right.
But since they both have those like clothesline or lariat finishers, and you're expecting to see one of those two land it, and that'd be the end of the match. We got one out of Trent Seven, and Joe Coffey kicked out of it. That was part of the story for me right there. It's the fact that Trent Seven's arm isn't even going to save him at this point. So. For a match, for an event that was more or less just more build for Pete Dunne and Walter, because even at the end we get that huge video package for them. This is completely geared around those two, and it kind of shows. They kind of didn't really put a lot into these matches, so can't really give any extra points for that. So 3 just sounds middle of the road. Sounds fair.
I am going to break it down. To me, this match was better than middle of the road. So you start at 2 3/4.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it deserves an extra quarter coming off of a good show because we got to see Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. Maybe they didn't win, but we got to see them. The match with Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn was much better than I thought it was going to be. The in-ring promo with the grizzled young veterans, it was a great crowd spot.
Yeah.
If anything. Great crowd spot. And then this match...
It did get Zach Gibson back in the eyes of people.
This match was a good match, and it was longer than I thought Trent Seven could go. They told a good story, as Chris mentioned, with the bat.
You're all about the story.
I'm going to give this 3 1/4 spots of teeth.
Wow, okay.
I'm going to give it the high rating of the night. And then after the main event, we had the aforementioned video package for the WWE UK Championship match at NXT TakeOver New York between Pete Dunne and Walter. And it was like 3 or 4 minutes long, and it was the exact same one we got for NXT last night.
Yeah.
So that's what that was. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the NXT Party. And where can we find you on social media, Chris?
Find me on Facebook at Chris Redward Mace. Support Aftermatch Wrestling. Support NoDQ.com. Support the Simple Man.
NoDQ.com/Noah.
At Armbar, capital ARMBAR, exclamation point.
He stole your
stole
your bit. We'll get there.
I'm still going to do it anyway. I don't give a shit.
We chorus with Jerry, not with Chris. It's okay. What about you, Colin? Where can we find you?
Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at Colin26Andrew. Keep supporting Aftermatch. Tell your friends. I've been putting some content on my channel. I just don't remember what it's called right now, so I'll have to leave it in the comment below.
I think it's just search for Colin Andrew.
It's Colin Andrew. You change it to Deli or something, man. That'd be badass.
The Deli.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. But no, it's always a good sign. But click the subscribe button, click the like button.
I'm subscribed.
I was about to say, Colin's always putting like really interesting thoughts and whatnot on, like not just my my armbar group, but on his page. So it's definitely worth checking out. So,
and you can find both of these guys on the WrestleMania and I believe NXT as well predictions video that they did with
Owen Finch and James Heeper.
Were you there too, Chris?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, so it was all 4 of the 4 horsemen of NXT team.
Yep.
No DQ's NXT team. That's us.
Yes. We
coined it. Just one of those things we do. So, did you have some more, Colin? Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh yeah, you can. My YouTube channel is just Colin Andrew, COLIN space Andrew ANDREW.
Yeah.
I got like 4 or 5 videos on there. You can find me through. I'm subscribed to Aftermatch. I'm subscribed to the Simple Man, Noah Foster, No DQ. All those people. Cindy G. So
NoDQ.com/Cindy.
I'm not cool enough to have a No DQ forum page yet, so or /page yet. So that's how you got to find me for now. But just keep spreading the word on shit.
You can find Kayfabe Candy ass there,
and we do it for free.
NoDQ.com/KCA. So thank you guys for being on the show. And if you would like to be on the show and help us review a future episode of NXT, come have a spot of NXT with us. You can find me on Twitter. Just go to NoDQ.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stephan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ.
Fuck bomb. Ha! Take 2. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ General, and also on my Facebook group Armbar, mentioned a little bit ago. Capital ARMBAR. Exclamation point.
There it is.
What?
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, man. Anyhow, find us on Facebook. Look us up. Just join the group. Don't try to add us as friends. Just join the group.
Yeah.
And
Jerry hammer band somebody.
Oh, I had to. I told him he asked me how to get a hold of Stefan. I told him Stefan doesn't add people that he doesn't know, other than the ones we generally talk to. And 5 minutes later, the dude's trying to add Stefan, so I threw him off the group and blocked him. So I'll play around that or Ronda Rousey, even though I kind of predicted.
So if you want to get into armbar, it is all caps. ARMBAR exclamation point. And the answer to who your favorite wrestler is anybody but Ronda Rousey. If you put Ronda Rousey, you're not getting in. And don't add us on Facebook because apparently
don't put yes.
All I did was reject the request, but Jerry heard me. I was like, no. And he's like, what? And I told him, and he's like, oh, he's gone. I told him specifically, don't add you on Facebook. I was like, damn.
I don't play around. Battle Royal, bitch. You out. But yeah, definitely join up with us. We have a whole bunch of different discussions. We have Armbar Radio that we do on occasion. As long as you're part of the group and you want to throw in a live video or just a live chat, go ahead and do it.
Yep, that's Armbar for you.
Yep.
So if you like our video,
all week, man.
It's been fun too.
Yeah. If you like the video, you should click the like button. That's below me. If you like all of our videos, you should probably click the subscribe button. That is below Jerry. Point to it, Jerry.
Right about here.
Somewhere down there.
Somewhere in that general area. Right about where Colin's pointing, probably.
Between those buttons is the share button. Share it with your friends. Anybody that you know that likes NXT UK. See if they like our show. Maybe they won't. But they'll never know if you don't share it.
Yep.
Go ahead. We'll give you a moment. The like button's there.
Sharing's
do it.
Share button.
Yeah. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Subscribe button.
Subscribe.
And while you're at it, visit us at Aftermatch on YouTube. That's all one word, Aftermatch. AFTERMATCH Wrestling. That is our channel. That's where all of these videos go about a half a day early before they show up on No DQ. And after this show, we'll be recording an episode of the Rated R Report, which is exclusive Aftermatch content, where I will be drinking my very first orange vanilla Coca-Cola. I love orange sickle flavored anything. I've got Twizzlers, the Twizzlers that were orange cream. I spent a ridiculous amount of money to get these because I didn't know about them until they were gone.
You have to find something to replace the nacho fries at this point. So.
But I am caffeine free for those of you that don't know. So the fact that this has caffeine in it means that I'm going to give myself a headache tomorrow on purpose. And I will be drinking this during the Rated R Report. And we'll be having that with Colin and Chris. So join us for that after this. And for the holiday, Chris Mace. For the Cleaver, Colin Andrew. For the General, Jerry Slaughter. I am, of course, the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thanks for having a spot of NXT with us. And we will see you in NXT time.
Cheerio.
Have a good night, y'all.